Hey everybody, it's Siobhan here, the galloping housewife. I'm on my way out to the horses, yay! Yeah, which is like rolling my eyes, but you can't see because sunglasses. But last time I spoke to you, oh my god, this morning I went and I sorted out some files on my computer before I started working this morning, just because I had some shit that bugging me, and I transferred over to my computer all the ones that I haven't uploaded, of all the videos of these that I haven't uploaded yet. And oh my god, yeah, there's a few to do. So and the pain in the ass thing is that because I know what I'm talking about when I do these, and then if I do them within a day or two, I can normally go, oh yeah, that's what was on my mind. But actually, because I've left it so fucking long, now I actually have to listen to myself, and it's like, oh my god, if any of you do any recording or any video or anything, for a start, I mean, like, I don't need to it's like for a second thing, my voice, it's like, oh god, I mean, and it's not just my accent, which I'm not self-conscious about. I mean, it's just the fucking way I talk, but yeah, the whole sort of like how you sound is just like weird, and then I've got to listen to the bullshit that I spout, and it's like all compounds. But anyway, so the last time I recorded one of these was on Monday, and I was on my way out to the horses, and then I realized in the process of recording this that I needed to stop and get some feed. Well, needed to stop and get some feed, but the problem is that the feed that I feed is fairly it's a premium feed, and it's also quite specific. And it's mainly for Mitch. Percy just gets it because he's Percy. It's easier to feed them both the same thing. But yeah, and so I had to go all the fucking way, and it's only stocked in a few outlets, and so it's like 45 minutes. So that's an hour and a half in the car. I mean, that's there and out to the yard. It's an extra. Yeah, it's an extra hour anyway that I would normally not have had, and that's without going into the shop and buying shit. And I had to get grass for the goats. So yeah, I know that sounds ridiculous, but the goats have their feed as well. It's like, we are crazy. I mean, like, seriously, galloping housewives. I'm just like, the fact that we put the things that we sacrifice for horses, and obviously for our families as well. We've got that, and some people will, most women of our age will that it's their families, it's front and center, and it's like, and it's and that's all well and good, and the pain in the ass super mums, but then we've got probably a thing in front of that, which is our animals, our livestock and our pets and our horses and our and it is a bit that kind of same relationship that a farmer has with their stock, but with us it's also, we get so fucking emotionally attached. And the fact that I've got two pick-me goats that are useful for nothing, that all they're going to do is bounce around and eat shit, like that's their whole function in life. And it's like, yeah, I drive all this way and I get them this special diet. It's just like, really. So yep, so I'm just like celebrating the fact. I'm just like, do you notice how many times I say I'm just like? It's really fucking annoying. And now that I've noticed it, I'm going to be noticing it all the time. I have a friend, I can't remember what she says. If you know what I mean. She says if you know what I mean. And so I pointed that out to her, and it just like destroyed her. So yeah, I'm unsure whether I'm going to be able to speak from now on. That could be interesting, considering I've actually got a Zoom call tonight with my Sort Your Shit Out ladies, which I'm looking forward to. Two new girls that are coming on the call tonight that I haven't yet met. So I feel like I know one of them because she's been on the course for a little while, and it was being in and out of my inbox and stuff. So it's been nice to put a face to her, to her personality. So I am looking forward to that. Actually, that's an interesting one, you know. So that whole sort of thing that we are, you know, that how much of a shift there has been in our sort of psyche around how we look and how we present ourselves. And you know, it shifted with the internet, and it shifted again because of COVID. But yeah, I remember when I was at high school, but you know, at school and college, and then you know, nursing and working, that we had this thing, you know, because we were in front of people all the time, about how we present ourselves, and first impressions count and all that type of stuff. And yeah, and meeting with people and doing business meetings and things, you get that whole you put a lot of emphasis on how people appear, like not just how they look, but you know, but how they dress themselves, how they comport themselves, how they speak, and you know. And you know, you read body language and all those sorts of things, those sort of cues. And then we've gone from that to having the internet, and actually, probably pre-COVID, we had this whole thing of, it went completely the other way, because most of the conversations that we were having with people were written, and especially in the early days of the internet, you know, before Instagram. But what was the one that I can't even remember what it was called? Had the little camera logo, and it had Instamatic, something like those. That had that was about taking photos and things. But see, I'm that old, you know. I didn't have a MySpace account, and I wasn't a Bebo girl, although so. Yeah, I kind of missed out on those. I went straight to Facebook, but I did have a Hipstamatic or an Instamatic or whatever it was. And so, yeah. So, but you know, most of my communications and most of the relationships that I made on the internet were written, or in forums. You know, pre-Facebook days, we used to, you know, we had sort of special interest forums, and so you got good, you know, you wrote stuff, and you formed an opinion about people, and you formed a relationship with people based on, you know, the written word, and a lot of those forums were, you know, you could actually go into quite a amount of detail, but even so, you know, that knowledge that people were interpreting the written word changed the way that we wrote, and now you probably see a similar thing on Twitter, but Twitter's even harder, because you've only got, it used to be 140 characters. I didn't join Twitter in those days, but I'm there now, and it's 280, which is still, it's just not a lot to actually have. I mean, you can have some back and forth with people and explain yourself, but if you're actually going, and you can write threads obviously, but if you're going to, but still that initial tweet of you know, the initial thing that people see, the first tweet is you know, it's not a lot of room. But then, you know, with COVID, but we're still having these interactions. So what we considered our important interactions, and you know, people used to they'd be embarrassed about meeting like their partner on the internet. I mean, like some of the stigma had gone prior to COVID, but there was this kind of little bit of a you met your partner or you met your friend on the internet. And I met a lot of people on the internet because I was a solo mum for a start, and I lived very rurally, and I had friends locally, but I also, not everyone was going through the same sort of things or had the same sort of interests as me. So, that was my relationships that I formed, and I formed some really good ones on forums and stuff. But, when we got to, and Facebook, most of us use Facebook as, we link up with people we already know in real life. I mean, there's a little bit of, you'll meet people in groups and you might branch out if you think you've got something in common, but you build a relationship. People that are allowed on your feed and that sort of stuff are people that you know most of the time, at least. I'm talking about personal feed, obviously here, not our business pages and things. And then you get to COVID, and you've got that whole thing of suddenly all these in-person meetings are happening behind a computer screen. And a lot of people that relied on their ability to read people and their ability to communicate, and also the image that they portrayed, their physical presence, really struggled. Really struggled in the sort of Zoom and Teams meeting type situation. And there were certain people that when you were, if you had to learn in a situation like that where there was, where you couldn't read people, became more difficult. For others, it gave them a lot more clarity. And I have to say, it's not something that I am particularly comfortable with. This is why I've talked to you about this before, but this is why part of the reason why I started this was to get into that practice of being able to put myself, I don't know, it's not that I think I've gotten better at it since I started this. I think I've just gotten more comfortable with it, and I don't need to be the polished performer. That's not who a galloping housewife is. It's certainly not how I am. So that's not high up on my radar at all. It's just a matter of feeling comfortable about putting myself out there and just rattling off all this shit to you guys. And so it's quite interesting how that's kind of evolved over the last sort of 2 or 3 decades, and it's actually evolved a lot. It's evolved, how we choose, and the fact that so many of us worked from home, and even those with sort of high-end corporate jobs, and we lived in sweats for so long. And part of that was, obviously it's comfortable and all that type of stuff, and some people chose to do themselves up and put makeup on and get themselves into work outfits. I really don't know how long that lasted, but they did choose to do that because it put them in the right mindset. But it's more about, it's that sort of how much importance do we put on it now, and how do we relate to people, how have we changed our relationships with people, and how we communicate with people and interact, with this kind of hybrid thing, with the fact that we are still a lot of the time behind computer screens, and it gives us so much advantage. We can, for someone like me, okay, so I can put a post on the internet. Here I'm talking about words and picture, because it tends to be what most of my posts are. But I can put that on the internet, and I think actually yesterday I put one on, and it was Monday I put one on, and it was just about getting back on your horse. And in 2 days, 250,000 people have seen that, I think. Oh, no, maybe it's not that many, maybe it's a couple of 100,000, but it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people that have actually had eyes on that and communicated and have interacted with that, and that is a massive advantage for in a lot of ways. And it also means that for like my teaching tonight, my group of people tonight in the Zoom meeting is I would say a third of them are British, and the rest are actually all Americans. But we've got some on the West Coast, some on the East Coast, some in the middle. And I can be global. I can be at the same time talking to someone in New Zealand and talking to someone in South Africa and talking to someone in Vietnam, and it's absolutely limitless. So and I have followers in Argentina and Romania and Poland, and and it's absolutely fucking brilliant. It's really, really cool. And so that's huge advantages in that, and I can have one-on-one conversations with these people, which is just brilliant. And I think it's actually given us a bit of a break on how we actually physically present ourselves and how much we worry about what we sound like and all those sorts of other things, because it is essentially, at the end of the day, about connections and about communication. That's what life is, about connections and communication. Right, I have no fucking idea what I was going to talk about today. Absolutely none at all. The boys haven't been ridden for days. Saturday, I think. Yep, Sunday I was up at Edinburgh. Monday I've had to fuck about and get feed and didn't have time. Yesterday it was pissing down rain. Today it's fine, and it's almost 3 o'clock and I still haven't got to the yard. But the sun doesn't go down until much later. So it is, it's okay, I can stay out there, and I won't ride them for long because they've had a couple of days off, so I will just get on and walk, trot and canter them around the arena, and then I will give them a bit more work, hopefully over the next few days, because it looks like the weather's going to be okay for the next few days. So that is my plan.